All right, welcome to another edition of the Big Blue Report featuring that guy, two-time Super Bowl champion, former Giants defensive captain, Giants legend, Jonathan Casillas, the Professor Ryan Darlington. I'm Randy Zellea from BacksportsPage.com. Just want to quickly remind you this is a listener-supported podcast supported by you, the listener, the Giant fan. Thank you for making us a part of your week. Check out NFLShop.com right now. Get your 2025 Giants gear. Support Big Blue like only you can do. Go to NFLShop.com. Get the Giants gear now that you want to wear, whether it's shirts, T-shirts, jerseys, or
straight jackets.
Straight jackets. Get number 52 jerseys. Anything you want, they got it there at NFLShop.com. Go there now. Okay, boys. We are entering the bye week of the 2025 season, and there's a lot of different ways we can start this thing. So I think the best way of starting it is let's take a step back to last night, Monday Night Football, ESPN. The New York Giants fall to the New England Patriots. And JC, Ryan, I'll be 100% honest with you. I looked at this game, and listen, we're going to go crazy about the kicker and all that other stuff in a few minutes. We'll address it. But one of the things that really caught my eye with the game was the discipline of the New England Patriots. What caught my eye about that game is how that team was very disciplined, how that team was very together. Everybody sort of knew their role. Meanwhile, we still have people missing meetings. We have key players who are out with injuries. We have chaos. So my question to you, gentlemen, let's get our takeaways from last night. Let's start with you, Ryan. Our takeaways from last night, ESPN Monday Night Football. The Giants were down at halftime. And one thing that I saw too, and this is the observation that I want to start with, you're down 30-7 at halftime. And your candidate for Defensive Player of the Year is stewing on the bench and doesn't even go into the locker room with the team. I don't blame him. He's the guy who's been putting his heart and soul on the field all season long. Ryan, start with you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess I was disheartened to see it because I feel like the one guy or one of the very few guys, I'll say, that's actually putting his heart and soul into this organization, into this team, is looking like we're finally getting to break his spirit a little bit, right? He's hanging on the side, hanging his head down on the sideline at halftime, guys. Halftime. They put up 30 points against the defense by the half. And honestly, so much went wrong about that game that, the thing that came to my mind was that it'd be funny if it weren't so fucking embarrassing, that so many things just went totally sideways on us. And I mean, we were outclassed, guys. We were outclassed in every way. coaching, execution, discipline. Randy, to your point, and we can get into all kinds of different reasons about why they've found their discipline and we just haven't. But I guess at the end of the day, what I walked away with was that, we are still languishing in the doldrums if we are able to lay an egg like that. I haven't felt like we have been that non-competitive in a long time. We were talking about it last show. There have been only really 2 games where we just were not looking like we could hang at all. And this is a third. This made me feel like some of those losses from last year. And that was it's disheartening. So I guess I can understand why Mr. Burns is over on the sideline hanging his head a little bit.
I'm surprised it didn't happen earlier in the year. The Giants have played some really good teams. And I say put forth a valiant effort in some of those matches, even the Detroit Lions, I think, is a very solid team.
Yep.
But this is after the game. I was watching highlights and, showing my girl Jackson Dart getting hit on the sideline. And I was telling her, like, this is what you call a butt whooping. This is an ass whooping. This is going on a roll for the Giants. You go out there And I don't know if they think they're better than they really are. I hope not. I hope that's not the case. But I think at one point throughout the game, they just realized that they are not good. They're not a good team. And when you play a good team, like a team like the Patriots, who's coached very well, like you guys were talking about earlier, everybody's organized, everybody knows where they need to be, very limited on mistakes, right? A quarterback that's throwing the ball down the field with like a 70% completion percentage, that means he's smart and he's accurate at things that he's doing, and he's poised. And he played that way, right? All of the things that we talked about for the Giants, the superlative that we have for the Jackson Darts, for the even Abdul Carter and Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns, all the guys that we've spoken about and had highlighted them for their efforts, right? We haven't seen it come really to fruition more than once every now and again. This Patriots team is showing you why they are so good and why they will be the number one seed coming from the AFC. And they do have, I think, a fast track hosting the playoff games in New England after a bye week because they're that damn good and they proved it, right?
Mhm.
This is a quarterback that hasn't thrown for over 300 yards, but he's leading the league in passing yards. I
Yeah.
don't even understand how that's done. But when you, right, I don't get it. But when you have a team that's void of superstars on both sides of the ball, let's be real about this. Can you name their starters? Like I know Henderson and the other running back, and like I don't know those guy names, and not trying to slight any of those guys, but there's no superstars there. There's no egos there. And when you talk about Jackson Dart and the willingness, the unwillingness to protect himself, because I think it's all ego driven, right? Just like
Mhm.
I think Dexter Lawrence, I think just like um, we talked about him earlier, Abdul Carter, him still showing up late or whatever it was for him to miss, a whole quarter. Like it all comes down to ego, and I've seen ego kill so many careers. It's definitely destroyed this team.
Mhm.
And then Jackson Dart is one mistake away from ending his own career. And the unwillingness to say, all right, and this is the thing, right? If he was throwing interceptions, right? Because the guys are too fast, not too fast, they're a little faster and they always get there. They always close windows a lot faster. He would probably say, I have to make an adjustment. There's something that has to be adjusted because I'm playing the same way that I've always played, and the results are not how they've always been. Why are you not thinking about that when it comes to your physical ability and your ability to be tough? I get you that you're tough, but bro, even though you've taken shots in college and high school, you've never taken shots like this.
No.
And then now, if he hasn't seen it yet, I'm not saying they're trying to injure him. But when you know somebody struggles with running out of bounds, and it's literally one of the most talked about things in football and sports because he's coming back because he's finally healthy from a concussion that it was his fourth time going through concussion protocol.
Yep.
Everyone knows that. So when you're running full speed as a linebacker, you're saying the whole time, "I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him." You're not thinking, "Oh, he's gonna run out. He's gonna run out. He's gonna run out." You're literally telling yourself, "I'm gonna catch him before he runs out." You know why? Because it's evidence that he's gonna do it.
Mhm.
So a guy like Ellis, who again, who is Ellis? No offense to him.
Yeah.
Guys probably said that about me when I played, but that's because I was probably a little bit average, a little bit better than average. I wasn't a superstar. Let's be real about this, right? Ellis had two big hits in the game.
Mhm.
One on your quarterback and the other one on the return team. And the Giants got dominated in every facet of the game, and it looked like they got their asses kicked from the start of the game. And honestly, they definitely pulled off the freaking pedal so much. It was 30-7 at halftime. The game ended up being 33-15.
33-17.
So they
17.
only scored 3 points because they were basically they took the pedal off, they started easing off the gas. And this was the first time all year I just felt like, okay, the Giants are cooked. This
Mm.
was the first time I was like, the Giants are cooked. Everything
Yeah.
that the outside world had been saying, I was so like, I don't believe it yet because I still see fight. I still see those guys trying to go out there and play football. I still see those guys going out there trying to respond. Not defensively, especially late in games, but at least they fought early in games enough to you're like, all right, this team is competitive. This team can put up a fight with anybody, even though they were losing games. This was a different loss. They literally got their asses beat the entire game. They got guys knocked out the game. Jackson Dart's talking in the interview after the game like he just did something. Bro, you're going to get broken in half. You already been broken in half. It already happened. You already got knocked out for multiple games. You took 3 shots in this game. There was like, and then I do applaud him because it looked like it's at least registering a little bit. But I think the ego is not going to allow him to protect his own self, which is a shame. Which is a shame because maybe he thinks it's like going to make him soft. And it's not about that at all, bro. The Giants are worth, I think, $10 billion. And you are the number one. You're the number one entity. You are the number one property. You are the number one commodity that the Giants have. Number one. It's not even close. And you're going out there with a reckless abandon, bro. This is not Ole Miss against LSU.
Yeah.
This is not that, bro. You know what I mean? Like, and then Abdul Carter, same thing, bro. This is not Penn State, bro. And I wish that Kafka would have came down harder on him because if this is a multiple offender, he clearly didn't get the gist of it when you did it for one series and then got blown up and everybody found out what happened and he still did it again. This is when you start taking their money. And I'm not talking about $20,000. I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars minimum to take from these guys because this is the only way they'll learn. These guys are checked out on the defense. Clearly they are. We watched Brian Burns sit on the sideline and he's sitting there contemplating over his career decisions. That's what you saw from him. He's contemplating over career decisions like, this is what I came here for?
Right.
That's what he's doing. He's over there contemplating his career decisions and how is he going to get himself out of this position that he's in now with this team? What is going to happen? Because this is horrible.
Well,
and I'm disgusted in so many different ways. Special teams was the final straw, I think, for me. I got my career on special teams. They got completely dominated on special teams, gave up punt return touchdown, and they got physically smoked the whole game, bro. It was so bad. I'm sorry. Sorry for my rant.
No,
I had to put it all out there.
It's well needed. And like just to jump in on a couple things that you were saying here. First off, yesterday I think Mike Kafka pretty much worked himself out of a job yesterday. I think he worked himself out of a job. You talked about a team that has checked out. There's one particular player, which we have discussed over the last couple of weeks on this show, as far as checking out. And that's Dexter Lawrence, the guy who's supposed to be the supposed leader on this team. I was talking to Ryan earlier. You look at, we call Dexter Lawrence a leader, but he hasn't really won anything. So what does he know about being a leader on this team? JC, when you came to this organization, you had 2 Super Bowl rings, okay? You had the experience of playing for Sean Payton and Bill Belichick. And you were like, you told the story a couple of weeks ago about being on your cell phone in the hallway and Tom Coughlin saw you on your phone, and that was the last time you were on that phone. There's and you, since you're familiar with the NBA world, I'm going to use this as an example, and you'll know this example perfectly. The Miami Heat have a culture. And for years and years and years, they had a guy in their locker room who they turned to, who was like the godfather of that team, and that was Udonis Haslem, because he was there for years and years and years. Before he was there for close to almost 20 years in the NBA. And he had the experience. You had the experience. When you were there in 2015 and 2016, guys looked at you because you had held that Lombardi trophy. You had those rings. The Giants, that first year that Brian Dable and Joe Shane were here, they had guys in that locker room who were with them in Buffalo who had tasted the success that team had being in the playoffs. This Giants organization right now, they don't have any winners in that locker room. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to put anybody down. But we're looking at Dexter Lawrence and Darius Slade and telling them that they have to be leaders, but they don't have the experience of winning, so they don't know what leading to a victory is about. I'm not trying to, like I said, I'm not trying to be negative. It's just being real and being honest.
The fact like the statement that you're making, the fact is that this team is full of losers, at least on the NFL level. Like, let's be real. Like,
Yeah,
th-
we're being real about it.
that's objectively stating this, right? Like, Dexter Lawrence have been a part of like this terrible, 10 years for the Giants. He's been a part of that. Most of his career, excuse me, all of his career is in that realm of the Giants being the worst team since 2017. That's objectively stating that. I'm not saying this because I feel this way. This is objectively stating that the Giants are the worst team in the league since he's been in the NFL.
Yep.
That's a fact. So him, Slayton, Andrew Thomas, all of the guys that are the veteran leaders, and this is the guys that he named Devil Singletary. I think he named Brian Burns. And this is Joe Shane's interview that he did today. But you know who he didn't name? He didn't name Dexter Lawrence.
Mhm.
And again, this is a big concern for me, right? If you asked me, let's say 8 weeks ago, right? When the Giants were still like, hey, we can probably be the first team in the playoffs after our 0-3 start, right? All of these things were being said. No one was questioning Dexter at that point. We were like, "Oh man, Dexter need to show up," but now the you have to look at it for what it truly is. Have Dexter just descended that much from greatness that he just can't play as well as he played last year? No, it's something different. It's
Mhm.
something else. It has to do, I think, with the leadership that's there. That's not, and it's not exclusive to on the field leadership, right? Tiki Barber said this a couple months ago that the Giants have a leadership problem. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's not just with the players, it's with the coaches, it's with Joe Shane, it's with everybody there, right? And now you got John Mara with his health concern. So I'm not saying that he's part of the day to day, he's really not, but it trickles all the way down. And when you have a guy like Dexter Lawrence who has been there for as long as you've been there, and I've heard now the former head coach and Brian Daboll and now Joe Shane, they both say in their latest press conferences they name leaders that wasn't Dexter Lawrence, and we all know Dexter Lawrence is the leader for the New York Giants. So what am I seeing? I'm seeing a guy, and I use this movie a lot because I truly think it has a lot to do with when you have a anti-hero or superhero, right? Like Achilles from Troy, right? If you have Achilles with you, you can win the war, right? But if Achilles is not there with you, that's Dexter Lawrence, you're not only going to lose him, but you're going to lose other people as well. And I think that shows up in Abdul Carter missing meetings. When you have somebody in almost the same room as him, right? And a guy that's supposed to be the leader of the team not correcting it, what does that say about him? Because I feel like it's not just Dexter, but I'm using him as example because when you look at everything on paper from these guys, it just doesn't make sense. Why is he not on the statistical charts every single week? Why is Abdul Carter not showing up? It's because this team has lost itself. And I think it's been lost itself, but it's kind of caught up in the how do you say talent department, but not in the gel of the team, right? Not in the synergy of a team. I think that's fractured, and there's nothing you can truly do about it right now. But to hopefully rope a dope to the end of the season, hopefully you can win one more game. I don't see them actually winning a game at all because I just don't think they're all bought in anymore. And when you say lost the locker room, I think that didn't happen. We just didn't know when that happened. We missed it, but it happened before Dayball got fired. And
Yeah.
I think we were just so trying to figure out what's going on with the top. We didn't really see what was happening underneath. And there's a lot of dirty, nasty stuff going on underneath. And you can hear it in some of the interviews. You can hear it. And you see it too, Randy. You see the locker room. You see guys when it really matters to them, what that looks like. And you see when guys are checked out, what that looks like. Like I've been on. You said two coaches that I played for, right? You said Bill Belichick and Tom Coughlin, right? I also played for Sean Payton. I'm gonna name two other guys that I played for, which I think didn't stack up to the rest of those guys, right? That was Greg Schiano and that was Lovie Smith. And I saw the type of ship they ran, and I was like, oh yeah, this is not a winning culture. This is not a winning environment. And both of those coaches, I think, did a year, maybe year and a half in Tampa. And I love both of those guys as men. Got a great relationship with them. But this is talk about strictly as coaches. There's only certain people that can be head coaches. And the Giants need to figure that out, because if they don't, I'm telling you, no matter who you bring in, if they can't handle this
it's gonna be
locker room,
the same.
it doesn't matter. It
Yep.
does not matter.
It's going to be exactly the same. And quite frankly, to your point, JC, I think they lost it last year.
They did. That's what I'm saying. It didn't
lost
happen
the
this
locker
year.
room. It wasn't this year. And I mean, we got lulled into a false sense of security when we got some additional talent influx, and we thought, okay, well, now we've got our star quarterback going, potentially the franchise quarterback, and we can kind of move forward with some positive stuff. And we're stacked. We added a bunch of guys in the secondary, but the rot was there. The rot was there, guys, and the only way, and I'm sorry for anybody that's squeamish, but I'm going to use a medical example. It's like Alex Smith's leg, right? When you get an infection in your leg, you have to dig all of that shit that's infected out. You have to get it out before you can even start to heal. And the healing process is not easy. The healing process is a very difficult one to go through. So we're not even at the point as an organization, and maybe this is something we could talk about for down the road, but we're not even at the point in the organization where we've gotten rid of the rot. Well, right? I mean, there's some elements that we've been able to take out, but there's guys that are checked out. And if there's guys that are checked out now, then they're not going to be bought in next year. So, I mean, maybe it's time to just start to break this thing down to the rafters, right? Really kind of strip it down to brass tacks and move forward again.
But Ryan, who's going to do that?
Who's going to do
that? Because you got to start once. What's it? Black Monday they call it, right after the season, the Monday after the season finale.
Yeah.
That's when the Giants will move on. Probably. I mean, we'll see what happens. We don't know exactly what's going to happen, but most likely Joe Shane. They're going to move on from Joe Shane. The question is, right? Because I do think that, the two conversations that you have to have, especially on the defensive side of the ball, is you got to talk to Dexter Lawrence, or you got to talk to Abdul Carter. You got to basically ask both of them the same question. Dexter first. Do you still want to play for the New York Giants?
Yeah, right.
Do you still want to give the effort that you gave? I'm not looking at that film last year, meaning this past year. I'm not looking at that. That was horrible. And I want you to know that I think that was horrible, right? That's the first thing. Let's get that off my chest right away. Second, can you make that effort that you was making in 24, 23, 22, and all of those years where you were one of the dominant players in the league, so you can get yourself in the Ring of Honor here for the New York Giants, right? And Abdul Carter, I will not play you if you miss another meeting. I will not play you. And I will tell everyone that I made a decision, but you made a decision, because I told you that if you become late again, I'm going to say it out loud to everyone so the public can hear me say it. If he misses another meeting, he will not play for the New York Giants.
Right. No.
That's it.
What you're talking about is discipline and accountability. That's all.
Not that all they need. It's a lot of other things that they need, but that's the first thing that they need to address.
Yes, and the person that has to come in has got to be somebody that's got a system like that we know works. That's the part of the issue here, right? Because we're talking about a bunch of coordinators, and the actual market for head coaches is not fantastic. But I mean, I feel like we need someone in that spot that players will respect because the coach has won, and who has a system that we know works, so the players can get bought in and not rebel against the discipline and the accountability that we all know that they need in order to reach their full potential.
Right. And I also want to throw this at you too. I've said this for the last couple of years on this show. When you decide you're going to make a regime change, it takes 3 to 5 years, maybe longer, to really clean out what you have and start rebuilding. Now, by doing that, by getting rid of Joe Shane, I was giving examples to Ryan earlier today. When Jerry Reese was let go of this organization, and Ben McAdoo, they both got ousted on the same day, and Dave Gettleman was brought in. You look at what Dave Gettleman drafted and also had here that are of guys that are now gone at other places. Quickly go down the list, okay? Daniel Jones, look what he's doing out in Indianapolis right now. Saquon Barkley, Super Bowl champion with Philadelphia. Leonard Williams, who you traded the Jets over to the Giants, is the anchor of Seattle's defense. Julian Love, who was drafted on this team and was not re-signed under Joe Shane and Brian Daboll, is an anchor in Seattle's defense as well. Xavier McKinney is out in Green Bay. I can keep going down this list.
Andrew Thomas, don't forget him, right? Andrew Thomas is underneath that regime, right?
Andrew Thomas was, I think, is one. It's Andrew Thomas, Dexter Lawrence, Darius Slayton. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else who's
I mean,
left.
Andrew Thomas, when he's healthy, he has been by far the
He's
most
been dominant.
Yeah, he's been great.
Giants.
But he's been great.
Overall.
But what I'm saying is all the guys that, everyone couldn't wait to kick Edelman out the door because the team wasn't winning. But you look at all the players that he has here. Again, you have to flush everything you had, and you just couldn't do it. Look, JC, you were here in 2017, and you know how difficult that season was. You weren't able to flush everything out into 2018. You still had people who were left from that year before. And 2019 was the year they got rid of.
Randy, let me stop you right there. No,
Okay.
because I like where you're going with this, but let me redirect you because you were basically saying there was stuff left over. It wasn't really that. It was just more of no matter who the general manager is, who's buying all the groceries, you have to have the right chef. Right.
Yeah.
If you have a genius, right, guy that's buying all the groceries, a not so smart guy can kind of make a nice little meal out of whatever he has there in the kitchen, right? The combination of whoever's buying the groceries, the general manager, and the head coach just has not hit for the New York Giants. Because back then in 2017, our roster was just as talented as anybody else's in the NFL, for sure. And this was still Eli Manning here, and the offensive line was solid, not great, but solid. The defense, we were ranked number 2 in 2016, and we had basically everybody back but Jonathan Hankins. And because you didn't have the right chef that was out there cooking, he didn't understand what it meant to get burned. He didn't understand what it meant to get overcooked. He didn't understand what it meant to get undercooked, right? He didn't understand those things. He knew his stuff offensively, but he was out there with a whole bunch of guys, right? And I'm gonna put myself out there too because when 2017 hit, I couldn't do nothing about it. I was a captain of the team, and I felt embarrassed about what I was seeing from not just the on-field stuff, but the off-the-field stuff that was happening, right? The Eli Apple stuff, right? The Janoris Jenkins stuff. I watched that happen, and me and Jackrabbit are really good friends, but I watched him leave multiple days without telling no one nothing, and him not get fined for it. I tried to persuade him, literally both times. I was like, bro, you can't not miss. You have to be there. But it's only so much me as the captain, the leader of the defense can do. There's only so much I can do. When guys get checked out, it's over. Especially those respectable guys in the locker room. Janoris Jenkins was very well respected. I still got respect for him no matter what happens. DRC, all of those dudes, but Damon Snacks Harrison, these are men that when they're not feeling when they're not feeling it, how it's going, you're not going to get their best. And that's what you're seeing from these guys, bro. You're seeing them because they're not happy about something that's going on, whether it's ownership, leadership, management, whatever the case is, they're not happy. And you see that from how they play. You see that from how they got destroyed last week. Because you see a team with everything on the line in front of them. The Patriots have everything on the line in front of them. They're up for the number 1 seed. They have to win out until they say they don't have to win out anymore, right? So they beat the shit out of the Giants because it meant something to them. And the Giants, they're on the other side of that. You can't have a group of 55 guys and only 15 guys think it means something to them. It might look good some weeks, but then most weeks, like I said, I thought this should have been happened because I've been thought that the guys were checked out. When I say checked out, they're not going to give it their all, right? We talk about doing your job in the NFL, and I use what Ed Valentine used last week, my analogy, about just fitting up your gaps. And what if the run play bounces outside against a corner? Yeah, that's his job to get him down. But you telling me I can't do more than my job to help him out? And nobody's going to do that when they don't believe in leadership, when they don't believe in the person that's telling them what to do, when they don't believe that's the guy that's picking out the groceries. It's just not going to happen. I've seen it happen in 2017, and then I've seen it playing out. Basically, for the last 3 or 4 years, it's been playing out.
Right. And the funny thing is, too, is you've been saying that you need to have the right cook in the kitchen, but right now they've been pretty much getting waiters and waitresses who want to be cooks to be the head coaches of this desk. Because you look since Tom Coughlin was the head coach of this team, you've had Ben McAdoo, who's an offensive coordinator. Okay. You've had Pat Shurmur, who was
He
up
was
in,
a once head coach, right? He was a once head coach,
yep, he was a
but
once
got
head coach.
fired not too long, right?
Yeah, he didn't have a good first experience, and his second
Right.
experience here was not good. And then you look for a diamond in the rough in Joe Judge.
Special teams guy,
Special teams
He's
coordinator.
a special teams coordinator.
assistant,
And then you have Brian Dable. Then you have Brian Dable, who is again a
offensive
coordinator,
coordinator.
we're giving a first time head coach. We cannot have another first time head coach.
No.
You need to have someone experienced. I said bring Bill Belichick in here for a couple years until his girlfriend graduates college, and then you can go out and.
Yeah,
And
but
then,
we can't have her running the Giants. We can't do that. I'm gonna be drunk every show, bro. It's gonna be craziness.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying though. Like right now, you have to go out there and find someone who's got equity. And the problem is, right now, like obviously, we don't know who that coach is because it
Who are you
doesn't look like.
thinking? You sound like you got somebody on your mind.
I would love for Tomlin to leave Pittsburgh to come here. I would love that.
Yeah.
I would love that because he doesn't take any shit. Like, look, you gave the perfect example. When Tom Coughlin caught you in the hallway with that cell phone, there was no opportunity for him to catch you again because you learned because you were scared.
Find my ass.
Abdul Carter.
Bitch.
Abdul Carter has now made the same mistake twice, and it's cost him twice. After the first
But not
time
really though. This is a little embarrassing, but like it ain't cost them nothing.
Right.
When I say
Playing
nothing,
it's costing us some humiliation. Like
a
today,
little bit of that. But like you need to hit them in their pockets. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
How do you get dudes, right, that can buy anything they want, that can do anything they want, that feels like they're on top of the world? What you do is you take something from them that's valuable. Everybody values money. If you take $20,000, right, and he made, I don't know how much he made, let's call it $100,000 in the game. It's a fifth of my check. I missed 2 series. Yeah, that's about right. You understand? If you take him out for the whole game, whatever his salary is, top that in 17, you take one of those things away.
Yeah.
Now that's different.
It's
And you can
different
definitely
animal
fine them on top of that too. You can hit them for the suspension, conduct detrimental, and you fine them on top of that, the max fine for a day. You can fine him the day he missed the meeting for the whole day. I don't know, 30, 40,000, how much that is. And then the reason why you do that, because if not, they're like a kid, bro. They're gonna keep getting away with it when they can. You know, and if they don't have any repercussions, just like the story with Jack Rabbit. Jack Rabbit went home when we were winning in 2016 and didn't tell nobody, and nobody said anything. He missed a whole day of work. And then the following year, when we were 0-5, he did it again. And then they try to find him. And it's like, you should have said something to him last year.
Yeah, right.
You know, I was there. Both of those incidents, I was there. And I talked to Rabbit. I said, bro, you cannot do this, bro. You know, even me, there's only so much I can do. Like Burns, like Andrew Thomas, all the leaguers, there's only so much that they can do. When guys are clocked out, when guys don't want to play for someone, there's only so much they can do. They just got to go out there and go through the motions. And then you look like Brian Burns did, contemplating his career at the end of the second quarter. You know, and it's so sad to see because, and it's not just about these guys and their careers, it's about where this organization has fallen to. This is a classy organization that has great all throughout my childhood when I was younger, my first years of life and, the Fossil days, the Barber days, all of Eli Manning's days, the Strahans, like I could keep naming so many great players over the years. And the success added up and it matched the greatness of some of these players. You can't tell me that right now Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Andrew Thomas aren't one of the greatest players the Giants have ever seen. But they've been terrible.
Yeah. They've been crushed. Their spirit has been crushed. And their backs are finally broken. And, at the end of the day, it's going to be going through the motions until you can get through to the end of the season. The question then becomes, if you're able to get a head coach that will instill that sense of discipline, that sense of structure, and somebody that everybody knows what they're talking about and may have a chance of listening to, at what point do you just start jettisoning people, trading them after the March 1st season, right when the league year opens, and then just get yourself a big old salary cap, right? Maybe get some picks out of it, and just start over.
Yeah, but again, it's hard to your fan base. your consumer, you're now telling them again,
Mhm.
hey, we're starting over again.
Well, but we never started over. For years, we've tried to plug holes under the auspices of starting over. We've never done that. We've never had a full flush everybody, fuck everybody, we're starting over kind of a deal, right? We haven't traded people off en masse. We haven't brought new people in based on different coaching changes and things like that. It's always been a little here and a little there that try to kind of patch holes. And I think that the boat has too many holes in it, guys. We're running out of patch.
What would your upheaval be? What would you do, Ryan?
I think
This
at the end of the day, the entirety of the coaching staff has to go. And then when the new head coach is named and when they bring in a DC and an OC and they get their guys together, I do think Joe Schoen has to stay. I do think he has done a good job of evaluating talent, and I think the talent that we have brought in has underperformed and actually regressed because of the coaching that they've received. So if we have a GM that has a process, that has a good evaluation standard, has the ability to get good players in, at that point, then you say to yourself, all right, well, where is our value? Where is the value on this team? And it's guys like Dexter Lawrence. It's guys like Brian Burns. It's guys like Andrew Thomas. I don't know that you can trade away a franchise left tackle, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Dexter Lawrence go. I wouldn't be surprised to see Brian Burns go. Kevin Thibodeau's definitely out. Guys like that. Every other guy that you've got on this squad is pretty young, and they may have the opportunity under a new regime to get their shit together again and actually start playing up to their potential. So quite frankly, I would we're going to get a very high draft pick this year. We're going to be in the top 5. We're at number 2 right now. We're going to be very top. And that pick, we can't spend on one guy. We trade down and we get picks. We trade down and we trade down and we trade down. Do that a few times. Get yourself a solid mix of good young players. And with this new regime that can instill a sense of discipline and a sense of honor and a sense of accountability, then you bring those guys up in that system, and that's what's going to get you some help. Nobody wants to go through the losing seasons, but at least you're building towards something. And what we're doing right now clearly isn't working.
And not only that, too, what you just said, too, JC, I asked Ryan this exact question earlier today. Let's say you decide to part ways with Joe Schoen and you bring a new GM in, knowing that you just have a quarterback in Jackson Dart, who's gone through this concussion protocol, and you end up with the number 2 pick, and it is a decent quarterback class.
No.
That's what I said.
Randy, I'm sorry, bro.
You have to bring it up.
I can't. You know why? Number one, because the kid, even though he's hard-headed, you cannot deny his ability to play the position. He is, I think, phenomenal.
Yep.
I think he's phenomenal.
I
really think he's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've even seen close to what he's capable of doing, because I do believe he's a lot better thrower of the football than a runner of the football. And I think we will see that as he progresses. And if the Giants decide to pick another quarterback with a new GM, I'm going to call for them to get fired ASAP. Because what are we talking about here, Randy? Come on, bro.
You have just created a massive shitstorm for yourself.
You know what I'm saying? Like, already, the first thing you do is draft a quarterback.
I understand that, but that conversation is heavy.
I get you, Randy, but it doesn't need to be had. Not at all.
Right.
Because you do have your quarterback of the future. You actually have a backup quarterback for at least another year who I would probably re-sign
100%.
to a long-term extension to say, hey, I want you to be a Giant for the rest of your career, Jameis Winston, because this kid probably going to get it knocked out one of these weeks.
He has at least 9 more concussions in him. You know what I mean?
At least a couple. But I just don't think that they're going to do that.
Yeah.
But I do, and Ryan, I do hear your point, but the Giants need another game changer on the back end of the defense. Cornerback. We've seen how good great cornerbacks can do for a team, right? Gilmore with the Patriots. We've seen it. Jalen Ramsey, every stop he's been at, he's been very good, and he's changed the dynamic of the defenses that he's been. The Reeveses of the world. Like, when you have a corner Gonzalez, even Gonzalez. That's the one
Yep.
guy I know from the Patriots defense.
Yep.
But he's a rock star. He's a great player, and you can do so many things. The Giants mix with Banks, the Giants mix with Neal. You cannot miss with a top 10, top 5 pick. And that position for the Giants is desperately needed.
Yep.
Desperately needed. And I
And-
love Flott's fight.
Yep.
I love Trey, what's his name? The 22.
Hawkins. No,
I-
22 is Drew Phillips.
Drew Phillips. I wanted to say Newbin for some reason. I love Drew Phillips' ability to compete. But you need a stalwart. You need the kid Patrick Surtain. You need a stalwart cornerback. And if that guy is available at 2 or 3,
Yeah.
Ryan, I'm all in for getting a
Okay.
corner that can change the game in terms of his play on the defense side of the ball. Because if you really think about it, the Giants do have guys along the defensive line. And Michael, when Mike is back, I love Bobby and Mike as a combination.
Sure, but where do you go after that?
You need top tier players at top tier positions, and that's one position that the Giants have not had in a very long time. They got a receiver, they got a left tackle, they got a pass rusher, they got a D tackle, right? The safety is not really a premier position. They have the premier positions checked, but corner. That's the only one that they need checked. Now, when you have that guy, I mean, you'll do that after you get your coach, but you have all of the top 5 premier positions in the NFL. You have those covered. And I do think that either you do it in the draft or you do it in free agency. I don't know who's available, but I love veteran corners that come over because they always want to prove a point.
But that's what we're supposed to have in Paulson Adebo, right? That's what we're supposed to have.
Hurt. He never was a top guy. He
was the best guy in the free. He was the best guy in the free agent class. We spent $100
Was he
million.
really?
Yes, we spent $100 million on these two guys.
That
right?
I said that.
I'm just saying he was one of the, if not the top free agent, he was definitely one of the top free agents. And when that hire was made, right, when we put him up in free agency, widely said, "Hey, this is fantastic. This is a great move for the Giants." Yes, he was coming off of a femur, injury, right, in New Orleans, right, with the Saints. But everyone was like, "Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. He's really good. He could probably do a really good job for this." Same thing with Holland. He had a bit of an off year the year before, but he has the talent. And so, you've got those pieces in place, and they don't look good. They don't look good because they're not in the right scheme, or they're not well coached. They're not bought in. I
think it's that part. I think they're not bought in. I think it's that part. I think
the whole team is not bought in right now.
Yeah, I think that's the part that you're seeing. Like I'm telling you, bro. Look at how the Patriots played them, bro. They were talking shit. They were smacking them illegally or not. I don't care. It was a helmet with the helmet. I don't care. They were violently attacking the Giants.
It's a brutal fucking hit, man.
The whole game.
Yeah.
The whole game, they were brutalizing them. Theo Johnson got hit multiple times. They were brutalizing them. But, I'm telling you, when you have a team that really wants it, that really believes that they're the shit, and the fraud, that's what you get, bro. You get that. You get a beat down.
And not only
if Jackson Dart wasn't as talented as they were, they would never scored any points because that team is good for the Patriots. But that's what I'm saying, bro. Jackson Dart's good. He's like that. He's really like that.
Yeah.
That's why he's doing what he's doing, because he's really like that, bro. He really like he has a deserved ego, right? Abdul Carter, on the other hand, he doesn't deserve his ego because he hasn't done anything yet. He hasn't proved anything yet. So I understand Jackson Dart when he's like, I'm not going to stop playing how I play. I get that. You're going to get killed. But you have a point because everything you've done, it's proven that you are the player that we all thought you were when we went back in the first round and drafted you.
Yep.
And you're proving that.
The problem with Jackson Dart, though, is that he thinks in absolutes. Right? It's either got to be, I'm going with my balls out, my hair on fire, every fucking play.
Nuts out is crazy.
Nuts out. Just pull him out and we're going to town, right? But he doesn't realize that he doesn't have to do that when he's on the sideline after he's already gotten the first down. He has to be smarter than that, and there has to be a head coach on this football team that is going to hold him accountable for not being smart. for being stupid on something like that. Look, if it's 4th down and 1 and you need to put your head down to get the first down, fucking do it. I love that, right? That's guts. You're on the goal line, it's the end of the game, and you need to get that touchdown. You put your head down, you want to fight through it, go for it. When you're fucking 10 yards past the first down and you're trying to sneak another 2 yards out and get yourself killed in the process, that is detrimental. It's detrimental to the team. Conduct detrimental to a $10 billion franchise.
He should get fined, bro.
He needs to get sat.
Bro, when I saw that hit,
if you're not smart enough to protect yourself, then I, as the coach, am going to do it for you until you get it through your thick fucking skull that you're going to get yourself really hurt, and it's going to cause a lot of problems for a lot of people.
I just got to tell you, we were watching the game last night, and there was, I think, one play where Jackson slid, but he slid head first. My wife goes, "Oh my God, he slid head first." I was like, "Don't worry. He stopped himself with his head. It's all good."
I mean, but even that was, I think, a well-timed slide. It wasn't a true slide. It was a dive, which he still is an active runner. And I do think that he made a couple decisions to slide. I'm telling you, that last one, bro, it was an ego, bro. It was all ego. It was all like, I'm going to run, do. You can't touch me, da. And the thing is, though, everybody's going to do that until he proves that he'll make them pay. Because the thing is, a quarterback can make you pay. Yeah. They can make you pay, not by being tough, by being smart. Like, literally, the late slides, if he keep late sliding, he's going to get a flag. He's going to get a flag thrown, right? They're not all going to be clean, right? The late slides can help him because he has a history of doing it. I'm not saying he should do that, but he could. He could use that to his advantage. The running out of bounds thing. All he has to do is whatever yard line he's thinking about, just go out 2 yards before that. Because whatever yard line you think about, that's you thinking that you can get it on these guys, and you can't.
It's short-sighted. It's a
I don't care
short-sighted.
who you are in the NFL. Everybody in the NFL on the defensive side has knocked someone out at one point in their life, in their career, and they will happily do it to a young
100%.
Quarterback
Who thinks he's all that.
Legally do it. So he can use it to his advantage. He can go out 2 yards earlier, and if they try to hit him, all they got to do is touch him. You flop a little bit, boom, that's a 15-yard penalty. 100%. Now you have the defenses. All right, guys, he's getting smart with this stuff. He can come back and hurt us. But again, the ego thing, I think it's an ego trip. He does, I think, have the right to have an ego because he's proven that he could play on his league. But eventually, you have to take care of yourself. When I was in the NFL, I saw what guys were doing off the field in terms of their body work and all of the massages, your acupuncture and needling and hydrotherapy and all that stuff. Okay, I have to do a better job taking care of myself. Same with on the field. All right, maybe I shouldn't hit fullbacks in 9-on-7 the entire training camp as hard as I possibly can with my face. You know, maybe I got to start adjusting that because I won't make it through the season, right? I had to learn that, right? And it didn't take me that long. I didn't have to get a concussion to figure that out. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have to miss 2 games and get depleted to figure that out. It's quick.
I think also, too, guys, the one thing you have to remember about Jackson Dart, too, he's still young. He's still figuring all this out, and he doesn't have the right people around him right now.
That's it.
That's the thing. You need to have the right people around you to give you the right advice.
If you get shocked by an electric fence, stop touching the fucking electric fence. There's no adult or nobody of leadership that need to tell you that shit, bro.
That's fair. But listen, the brakes were never put on.
That was the greatest line ever, by the way.
That's a great one.
It's the greatest thing. Doctor, it hurts when I do this. Well, don't do this.
Yeah.
That's
Perfect.
That's it.
But, I mean, I think a big part of the problem is that when he came in, from the moment he came in, nobody ever put the brakes on him. Nobody ever held him accountable for the stupid shit.
But that's what they say in the interviews, too. They say that. I'm not trying to change his game. I'm not trying to change
his game. But you don't have to change his overall approach. You just have to make sure that he's smart in certain situations, right? He can go crazy for 3/4 of the game, but in those quarters, that 25% where he needs to be smart, and stop being so fucking stupid and reckless with his ball.
It's really like 10%. It's really like 10% because he touches the ball every play. And there's only like 5 or 6 plays every game where he has to make a decision, right?
Fair.
Some
I'll
decisions,
take
like you said, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, crucial point of the game, right? But these things are not happening in
No.
crucial points of the game. These things are not
It was-
happening at the first down yard mark
It
where
was
he's fighting
30 to
for it.
17.
These are just irrational risks, right? Everybody
Yes.
takes a risk, and
Right.
that's just irrational risk
Correct.
that he's taking.
And he
Doesn't make
needs to be
sense.
smarter about that. And he needs to
Mhm.
fucking grow up, have a little humility, and recognize that he's not going to be able to do it at this level forever. And the
No.
best thing he can do for
Man.
himself and for his team is to learn that and learn it quick.
And,
Man, I wish I would have had a hit like that on a quarterback.
Yeah.
That'll be my number one play on my highlight.
I'm sure. I'm
Number
sure.
one.
Listen,
Hey,
somebody had to have gotten the picture of Dart like 3 feet in the air, flying
Feet in
6
the
yard
air,
feet
bro.
in the air, like planked, horizontal in the air, right?
Oh man.
And guys, the other thing too,
Oh.
I just want to transition to one thing. Another thing that was brought up earlier today. Tyrod Tracy, obviously with the Cam Scotty out of action. Tyrod Tracy got hurt last night, which now gives a lot of the touches to Devin Singletary. They got to bring Singletary back next season. His contract's up at the end of this year. I'll tell you, Motor he's been great. You know,
He probably went out. And I don't blame him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he might.
but
I
if
need
you
to
have
get
the
the hell up
opportunity,
out of here. I need to get to a Super Bowl team. I'll be 3rd string. I'll play special teams.
Yeah.
I'll do anything. Hey, send me to New England, man.
Yeah, right.
Go up. What's that? 95? What you got to take to get up there?
95.
Yeah,
Yeah,
4
they take
hours.
95 all the way up there.
You
Don't
gotta get off
do not
95.
go past.
You gotta get off 95. Hartford, right?
Yeah, do not go past go. Do not collect $200. Just get me to a
Bro,
championship
listen.
team.
And I don't blame him. Just like I don't blame the Giants if they move on from Dexter Lawrence, right? At the end of the day, business decisions have to be made, right? This is not personal anymore, right? This is all business. And a lot of these guys on the team are making business choices and not giving their all.
Mhm.
So the guys that are doing that, you either can say, hey, you're going to sign your business contract to say you're never going to do that on this regime, or I'll just send you somewhere. Where do you want to go? You want to go to Miami?
Yeah.
We're not sending you to Philly. We're not sending you to DC, and we're not sending you to Dallas.
Yeah.
But tell me
Where
where
else
you want to
go?
go. I'll see. Miami got a
Yeah.
good receiver that we can
Sure.
get here.
Go be with your best friend in Indianapolis because you kept on complaining about how your best friend got.
Hey, send him to Seattle. Seattle got some pieces over there.
Here,
I'll
here.
take that
Yeah.
Charbonnet guy. I like him.
Him and Dexter. Dexter and Williams again. You put those two together again.
But
Look.
at the end of the day, when the new regime comes here, right, and let's say it's a 1-1, GM stays and the new coach, or it's a twofer, right, new coach and GM. When you come here, you have to analyze the locker room. That's the first thing you do. Have interviews with these guys and ask them real questions. At the end of the day, bro, these are grown men.
Yep.
These are all grown men. They don't want to
Yep.
be bullshitted. They
Yep.
don't want to be lied to. And if you can sit down and have an honest conversation with the leaders in this room and say, what do you guys think that this team's missing? Ask them that instead of saying, we're going to do things that we think this team needs when you haven't had those conversations. It's clearly that they had those conversations.
Yeah.
And if you think you're going to have a guy that's going to be here for a while, why not consider some of the things that they have to say about even roster moves? Because I know definitely late in Tom Brady and Drew Brees' career that they were consulted, at least advised of things that they were going to do roster-wise, because they had respect. If you feel like Andrew Thomas is going to be a Giant forever, then you bring him in some of those conversations. You ask him, what do you think is happening in the locker room? Why the hell is Dexter playing the way he's playing? Tell me, because I don't know, because I'm not a freaking player.
Right.
You have those conversations so you can get a little bit more insight before you start making moves and pulling pins and blowing up stuff. You got to figure out what you're blowing up first, right? Because you might move a guy that needs to be here.
Yep.
Yeah. And my question to you, JC, I'm going to go down a list of a few Giants players, and you let me know if you think they should stay or they should go. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's start on the
Put him on the spot. Here we go.
Put him on offensive. Let's start on the offensive side. Wan'Dale Robinson.
Stay.
Hey.
Darius
go ahead, Robin. Do it with me. Slayton, I mean, you can't get rid of him. You got 2 more years. You owe him like 20 more million, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think nothing you can do it, Slayton.
Well, and he's
You can't. There's too much money to lose if you send him somewhere, right? You're getting too much money.
You talking Slayton?
Slayton.
Mm.
Right? I mean,
I
because you're
think
going to be on the hook, right? And you're not going to get any value for him. You're not getting no value for him.
there's a will, there's a way. There's always someone who will take a contract.
I think he
Uh,
might help the receiving room, being that the young Malik neighbors are still figuring everything out. I don't like him for that number, but I just don't want that number to hurt the team trying to move on from Slayton. I
yeah.
think he's better staying put if the Giants can't figure out how to get that number down. Because I don't know how much they own, but I know they own a lot of money.
You know what they might do? They might do let's try and push that money to the back end, and before they can get to that big number at the back
Restructure
end.
him. I would definitely restructure him. That'd be
Yeah,
a good idea.
restructure him, and
He ain't
then
doing it though. I wouldn't do it if I was him either.
yeah. Well, you know how this game works. You can restructure to that last year, and then you end up making a cut before you have to be on the hook.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a bunch of dead money though?
Yeah, but you'll take the dead money for a year. Yeah, you'll probably.
Who else? Who else? Who else you got?
Daniel Bellinger.
Bellinger. What's his contract? Is he? Because if he's still on the team, I would say keep him because he's been here. I think he's a pretty good player. But if he's a free agent, I wouldn't mind looking elsewhere. And if he's restricted or whatever, I don't know the situation with him. Matter of fact, I'm gonna bring that up while we're talking.
I think he's got one more year. I think he's got one more year, and I think that's it.
I think you keep Belly next year, right? I mean, I think at the end, this is the last year. Next year is his last year, I think.
I think so. I'm thinking that he's got one more year. I could be wrong, but I think he's got one more.
He's a very versatile guy. He's a very versatile player. He's willing to do whatever, and he's pretty good at all of those things, right? He's a decent pass catcher. He can block. They've got him in at fullback in certain packages.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's got some value.
Next one's a little bit more difficult is Van Roten.
Go.
Yeah, a lot of the line guys. Obviously, you're not bringing Evan Neal back. Yeah.
Why not? What?
This is Bellinger's last year. You have to just say it, Ryan. You don't have to make it feel.
I have it. I have the list here. Yeah. So Greg Van Roten, he's on year 11. You think he played well this year?
I think he has.
I think he played pretty well.
I think the offensive line has done very, very well. That's what the one thing that we're not complaining about.
If they can get him for cheap, I would sign Greg Van Roten because at the end of the day, you want to keep that unit together, right? And if you got the starters together for another year, and Greg Van Roten can perform well in his 12th year, I would sign him and let him ride out. Maybe draft a guard or something to put some heat on him a little bit.
And any way you slice it, we need to get an interior offensive lineman or two in the draft this year.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Well, I got the free agency list right here. Can I want me to talk about it?
Yeah, let's do it.
I could just go down the list. Russell Wilson, he's gone, so he's out of there, of course. Jermaine Illuminor, definitely re-sign him. Evan Neal's out. Nacho, I would re-sign Nacho. I love the way Nacho plays the game of football. He's a great locker room guy, I believe. Greg Van Roten, I would try to re-sign him just so we can keep the nucleus of the offensive line together for sure. Wandale Robinson. They didn't do his 5th-year option. No, he was a 2nd-round pick. He didn't have that. Never mind.
Yeah.
So I would re-sign him. Chris Manhertz. I would probably look to see if I can get somebody else because he is going into his 12th year. He's a little bit older. I do like him as a person. And if they can get him for cheap again, he got him for 1.4. So if you could do that again, I'll re-sign Manhertz. I think he's good. Kreider, the long snapper, keep him. I don't think there's a problem with him. Got Schlotman. He's came in reserve and did pretty well. I would try to re-sign him because he's cheap too. Azudu, I will let go. The edge guy, Victor. I don't even know how to say his name. Demukajay. Haven't said his name one time this season. I don't see a reason.
He's been hurt. He was hurt for most of the season.
Okay. Flanagan Fowles. He's cheap. Can he play special teams? I don't like him playing linebacker for the Giants. Aaron Stinney, probably move on from him. Probably re-sign Cordell Flott. I see Flott there. I will probably re-sign Cordell. Gunner. I like Gunner, man.
I do too.
Me
I
too.
like Gunner, bro.
Yeah, it plays
He
with
was
heart.
all knocked out. He was still trying to walk off on his own
That's
power.
right. Yeah, he
Hey,
didn't
he's
know what
tough,
planet.
bro. Hey,
Dude, he did not know
he,
where he was. He did not know what
he was
fucking
out.
planet he was on.
He was
Yeah.
out. Hey, I tell you what though, I bet you the next time we see him, whenever that would be 2 weeks from now, whenever he's back out there, he's gonna run the same way. Like
Oh
I
yeah.
know I know that
If
type of player. I love a Gunnar Olszewski. I love what he does. I love what he brings to the game. Uh, I would run you Bellinger, because you can do it for cheap, and he can do everything for you. They gave him 1.1, so they won't have to pay him too much. I would make Micah McFadden the top paid linebacker in the league.
Yep.
He's up.
mm,
I would make him a top paid linebacker in the league. I think he's that good. I think he is stepped up as one of the best middle linebackers in the league. I think he's that good.
what's this? His
Um,
third year? This is his third?
nah, like fifth year, right?
This is the
Yeah.
fifth?
Yeah, because
Fifth.
he's fourth year now.
Oh, okay.
DJ Davidson, I like DJ. He comes in and gives good snaps.
I
And I
like
think you can
him.
get him for cheap. Bryce Ford Wheaton,
Yeah.
Well,
maybe Nick Jones, Art Green. Those are all special teams guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
You need depth, right? Yes. But they don't really play at all on defense, but they're all under $1 million. So if you can sign people for cheap that are good special teams players, I would definitely do that.
And then
So
some
that's
guys.
that's the list. I hope that's right. It's on spottrack.com.
Well, I will tell you that a couple of the other names I have. One of them is on the defense side is you have to make a decision on Kayvon Thibodeau. You know, you did opt him in for the 5th year, but you got this was the year he had to earn that contract.
Mhm.
So now you have to decide what you want to do with him because, again, he's another one who's been under fire this season. I said
Yeah,
it.
but
I said
that'll be after the year because he's
right,
gonna
but
Well,
play.
but I mean, if you want to lock him in, you don't want to wait until a contract year to do it, right? I mean, if you've extended him, right, and you don't want to wait until that 5th year to sign the contract, otherwise it's going to be potentially a bigger contract than you want to pay him, right? If you
Right.
lock him in now, you can probably do it for less than you would have to next year.
right.
But
Yeah.
you're still
Yeah.
talking about a pretty substantial contract for a guy that's not really done all that much.
Yeah. I mean, he's gonna make a good amount this year because they did the 5th year option. So
Right.
let me see what he's gonna make. I think you'll have that.
While
Well,
you're looking
that
at
gets kicked out if he gets re-signed, though, right?
right, and then
Yeah.
my big thing is, you can make a decision on wanting to move him because this is the time to do it. Because look, at the end of the day, and I said this beginning of the season, he's one of the guys that I had to keep my eye on because if he plays out of his mind and produces, then it's gonna be worth every dollar you're gonna pay him.
Right.
And when you have to start debating on whether you even want to keep him on the team,
Right.
that's
No, you
when
have
you're
your answer.
Yeah.
He's not had the kind of production that he needed to have in order to get signed up long term. So,
But nobody on this team has had that. The guys who needed to,
right. True.
like
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
I mean,
Wandale. I think Wandale.
I was about to say
has
Wandale's the only guy.
himself
yeah,
as
Yeah.
as an emerging number 2, definitely a quality number 3 receiver. Because he stepped up with Malik Neighbors being out.
Big
I think he's impressed all of us.
Yep.
Like his stop and start, his ability to make people miss, his ability to catch contested passes. I don't like the drops that he be having,
yeah,
but he's a big play guy, and
Yep.
I don't think you could take that away from him. What he did in Dallas, what he did a couple weeks ago was that Detroit. Was that Detroit that he just went crazy in? Was that Detroit? He had a phenomenal game in Detroit. But Kayvon Thibodeau, I would say, because I think he's a good piece. I don't think he is elite. The 5th year option is worth $15 million. And if you want to move on from that, will somebody else take that on and then can they give you something for him? I don't know if anybody's going to be willing to give up anything that's a quality worth it instead of letting him play for that option and then letting him walk the year after if he's not if he doesn't show you what you need to
Yeah.
see from him. And then if he
Yeah.
has 15 sacks, then you pay him.
Well,
you pay him
yeah.
accordingly if he has 15
yeah,
sacks.
yeah. I guess it would be worthwhile to see what other teams would give for him. Like if you could get
Yeah.
if you could get a 3rd round pick, I might do that deal.
Yeah. But
You
he's
know?
not a free agent, so you can't,
Well-
you would have to like put him on the trade block to figure that out, right?
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
the following year now.
It'd be
the
March
following
1st.
year.
Yeah, it'd be March
yeah.
1st. You'd put him on the block.
Gentlemen, I think we are going to transition into trivia.
Oh yeah, we've
Oh
been
yeah,
doing
yeah,
this
yeah.
for
I
a long
forgot
time.
about that. I forgot
Yeah.
about
We've been
how the
going
show's supposed to
long.
go.
We have to get something. We need to smile a little bit today. You know what I mean?
There we go.
Yeah.
Let's do
All
it.
right. So here is this week's question, since we are in the bye week.
I will say the thought of getting rid of Russell Wilson put a smile on my face. But anyway, we'll talk about that later.
They don't even got. He just gone, bro. They don't even
just
got to do nothing. He only got a 1-year deal. He just
That's
out
it.
there.
That's it. And it's incentive laden, so I think we paid him a bag of donuts. But anyway,
donuts.
Let's see the question again.
Sorry,
so
here we
which
go.
New York Giants rookie became the first player in franchise history to win Offensive Rookie of the Month in the month of October? I think I'm going to go with I'm going to go with C, Saquon Barkley.
I think it's B. If I'm not
You think it was
mistaken.
Jackson?
Yeah, he lit that bitch up.
So
and
Randy's
I think he
smiling.
did win Rookie of the Month. I'm right.
And the answer is B. Jackson Darlington.
Yeah.
JC, take a bow, my friend.
Yeah. I like that kid, man. I really do. And I'm gonna say he will figure it out. I just hope it's not too late.
Yeah.
I retired because, and I changed the way I played multiple times throughout my career. Once I hurt my neck, I knew I couldn't hit guys face up no more.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to, and I was stubborn because I played linebacker, so I had to learn how to tackle without doing that as much. And then basically the last big hit I had wasn't even a big hit. It was a face-to-face contact with the running back, felt it in my neck again, and played a couple more games, but I never was the same. And I stopped playing football after that, so hopefully it doesn't come to that, to where he has to make a decision because his health is just not there. But Andrew Luck, man, he was as tough as they come. And he stopped, and I've seen a lot of guys, regardless of position, stop because they just couldn't do it anymore physically. And he's just asking for that time to come a lot faster if he doesn't figure this thing out.
And I'm sorry to have yelled about that, but I'm waiting for the guy. He will mature. He will mature as the years go on. I just hope he does it sooner than later because his talent is too good. He's got too much talent to waste on injury time.
And he is the leader that they all saying he is. He's not there yet.
Right.
But he is the leader. He can galvanize a locker room. I just think the locker room was already in shambles before he got there. And whoever comes in, I think you got a good young guy that you can build off of. You got a great number one wide receiver. You got a great pass rusher in Burns. I think Abdul Carter needs to get slapped around a little bit, put some handcuffs on him. When I say that, I'm just talking about just get a leash on him, bro. The reason why you're not playing as well as you're playing because you don't take this shit serious, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Look at him, bro. I'm watching him all game, bro. He starts in one move and then he don't see him again. If he's not there early, he's not going to be there. A lot of these guys, right? Have y'all seen the Texans play the last few weeks? Have you seen Will Anderson play football?
Yeah, out of his mind.
Shit. And the thing is, 2 weeks ago, when they played the Bills, right? And they beat the Bills, Will Anderson barely beat the tackle in front of him. He just outworked them. He didn't really beat him and got the sack. He just kept working. Josh Allen extending plays. He just kept on working. And he got him down eventually. I think he had like 3 or 4 sacks that game. But it wasn't the first beat. Like I beat him and like Burns does that. Burns beats you and get you down real quick. And Burns actually does the chase down sacks too. We haven't seen that from Abdul at all.
Yeah. No.
We haven't seen that from him at all. Not even making it down. And yesterday he got burnt. He got burnt by the quarterback. Remember that? It was a first down.
Yep. Juked him out of his shorts. I was
looking like he juked him and then he got left. And it's like, bro, what how are you trying to ask for Lawrence Taylor's number? Like, what are we talking about? And at first I was like, man, he must be really good because he's asking for the GOAT's number
Yeah.
And not the GOAT, but then the Phil Simms number. And it's like, dude, you got 1 sack on the year.
It's all words until you put it on paper. It's
Yeah.
all words until you put it on film.
Again, it goes back. It just goes back to singing. Keeps what we were talking about a couple weeks ago. Keep singing these guys praise and tell them how great they are and how great they're going to be, but they still have to go on the field and do it.
You need a coach that doesn't give a shit about who they are.
Exactly.
Somebody that's going to come in here, apply the same standard to everybody, hold everybody accountable to the same standard of excellence. I don't give a fuck who you are, what your name is, what your pedigree is. You're going to do things the way they need to be done, or else you're not going to play for me.
I told you, I'll take 80-year-old Tom Coughlin in here any day. He won't take anyone's shit. All right, guys, you're listening and watching the Big Blue Report. Follow us on all of our social media platforms as well as the podcast platforms. Gents, we are on the bye week, so the good news is we can't lose next week.
Hey. That'll be the first.
Yeah, maybe we can.
We'll figure out a way.
I bet you we're still going to take an L this week. I bet
we're just taking an L for future reference.
That's it.
We already have the results for next week.
Preemptive L. Mm-hmm.
For Jonathan Casillas, Ryan Darlington, I'm Randy Zellea. Thank you guys for making us part of your week. Go Big Blue. We'll see you next time here on the Big Blue Report.